these localized lockdowns, localized curfews.
Most of the people came into hospital and died within 72 hours. That agrees with what Nana Kofi is saying, that there's significant community spread.
But the Ghana Health Service says this is not entirely practical.
And lockdown has its own side to it. There's the social aspect, the social economic aspect, and so you need a good balance.
We'll hear from the Ghana Medical Association, which is urging government to listen to the proposals and avert a possible crisis in the health sector. Wear a face mask or face prosecution.
All Ghanaians must remember that the wearing of masks is now mandatory. Leaving our homes without a face mask or face covering on is an offense.
But the state attorney says the directive cannot be enforced unless there is an executive instrument detailing the punishment regime.
A mere declaration does not make something an offense. No person shall be convicted of a criminal offense unless the offense is defined and the penalty for it is prescribed in a written law.
And on Joine's agenda on roads, controversial Dodi Pepeso in Kwanta Highway, developing potholes 4 years after contractors on the project received a presidential praise for doing a great job.
And in business, Securities Industry Association wants government to fast-track payments of locked-up funds to save the sector from collapsing.
And later in sports, following talks of a possible move from the Spanish La Liga to the English Premier League, former Ghana goalkeeper Richard Kinson advises Thomas Partey to move to England this summer.
Of course, we have details and more, and Ghana's health minister asks for prayers from Ghanaians from his sickbed as he informs the nation that he's in a stable condition. And as we continue our series celebrating some of Ghana's music greats, we throw the spotlight on high life legend Nana Tufo, popularly called 9924, who died earlier today.
Any man means a bit to me. I mean, to be crying, my enemy here for until you Bible and exercise me this kind of stuff.
That and more here on Newsnight with me, Emefa Apawu. Please join me with your thoughts and comments on what you've heard so far from Top Story up onto Newsnight is 0244 340 437.
Hello.
Why you bed?
It's 5 a.m. Of course I bed. Lockdown.
Guy, some series that they watch for Netflix. Too much.
You woke up to come in.
Which can wake up? I've been watching from last night too.
you have data, eh?
Vodafone Adaroma. The too much bundles. Now be too much. See, Jock, make an ad screen to the Skype call, then buy you guys a story.
Too much data is now double the data at the same price. So you can stay home and stay connected on Vodafone with too much data for the day and too much bonus from midnight till 4 a.m. That's double Ankasa. Terms and conditions apply. Dial *700#. Subscribe now. Ready?
Thanks for staying with us here on News Now. Now, be bold and implement localized lockdowns before the COVID-19 pandemic overwhelms the health sector. That's the caution from health experts in the country to government as Ghana's coronavirus infections rise. Currently, Ghana has recorded 11,964 with 54 deaths. President Akufo-Addo, in his last address to the nation yesterday, explained that more cases are being recorded because of the increase in testing, but pointed out the success of its tracing, testing, and treating will lead to a reduction in the number of cases. Listen to him as he defended his government's handling of the pandemic during his last night's address.
Understandably, much focus has been placed on the rise in the total number of confirmed cases. As of midnight of 13th June, the total number of positives cumulatively stands at 11,964 out of the 254,331 tests conducted. We have a total of 4,258 patients who are fully recovered. So our scrutiny, in effect, must be on the number of active cases. The number of COVID-19 related deaths, sad though each death is, continues to remain very low, one of the lowest in Africa and the world.
Well, adjunct professor of the School of Global Public Health at New York University, Nana Kofi Kwache, and UK-based pharmacist Kwame Sapong Esiedu believe more must be done to stem the tide of the increasing numbers the country is recording. They spoke on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime channel.
We need to do public health interventions in the communities that go beyond just testing and tracing, because testing and tracing are efforts to catch up with the virus. We need to slow it down so we make sure that we can actually get our hands around it. And that inherently means we're going to have to consider things like localized lockdowns or curfews or other things that slow the rate of spread. Does that have a cost economically? Yes. But the counterpoint there is, what is the cost of having an economy that in a series of openings and shutdowns, does not give confidence that it's prepared to resume normal life? So I really think we ought to really have on the table again real consideration for the potential of having at least localized lockdowns, localized curfews, that we have specific programs and protocols in place for the hotspots, because we really cannot continue with a trend of cases like this.
If you go onto the Ghana Health Service website and you go to all updates, they give you a chronology of some of the deaths. And if you go back to death 29 and start reading up, most of the people came into hospital and died within 72 hours, most of them within 48 hours. That agrees with what Nana Kofi is saying, that there's significant community spread. And in actual fact, it gives a cause for concern because it means that the people are not also coming in early.
So several other experts agree. Virologist at the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Dr. Michael Owusu, says the move will help to contain the situation.
We need to relook at where the hotspots are, see where majority of cases are coming from, and if possible, begin to restrict movement at places where these surges are occurring. I'm sure that if you look closely at the data, there are particular places where these cases are predominantly occurring, and the earlier we close those hotspots, I think that it will be very useful for all of us.
When you say restriction of movement, you're calling for some form of a lockdown?
So this is not a lockdown. I mean, lockdown is a term that mostly you want to look at the broader context of the region. But then the president announced that as and when surges occur, he will move, they will move to this particular hotspot, localized areas where people are transmitting and infecting themselves. Mostly this occurs in clusters. So the regional approach, there could be clusters which could be spots where people are infecting or transmitting. So, and data on this is available.
But Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, however, says the data suggests a different approach.
There are either you can lock down, but also an enhanced contact tracing, the large number of contact tracing and quickly isolation has worked. A lot of the time it works in Tema, it works in Ahuasi, and it works in other places like CBN. So those options too are there. And lockdown has its own side to it. There's the social aspect, the social economic aspect, and so you need a good balance. And so when you can use very rapid public health measures to address them, probably that will be the first option.
So that's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji. So he's been responding to health experts and their claim that localized lockdowns will be the way to go. Let's go on the line and speak to the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yangsin. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So clearly, we are beginning to see a significant spread of the virus within the communities. But will such localized lockdowns keep the spread, as we've heard from some health experts?
Okay. Emefa, thank you for the opportunity. The truth is that we are all very much concerned about the increasing case count in the country. As the other panelists said earlier, basically there is significant community spread and we need to tackle this head on. We are not just looking at the case count per se, but we are trying to match that with the impact on the health system itself. And gradually, we are being stretched, and we need to take what we have described as a multi-pronged approach. The first thing is that we as citizens will need to adhere strictly to all the preventive measures. The second is that the state itself would have to ensure there is enforcement of all the protocols that have been rolled out in an attempt to control this particular pandemic we have on our hands at the moment. And these two, for us, are not negotiable. As a people, we need to change our attitude and approach to things and understand that the disease is here with us and it is causing havoc. And then the state will also have to enforce. Those are part of it. All the other bits that we have spoken about earlier, as in the other panelists also mentioned, these are part of the things that we have described as the multi-pronged approach. Because where you have localized hotspots, you should be able to go in there and contain the situation. And if that means that you need to do some restriction of movement, or what some may describe as localized lockdowns, we need to do that in spite of contact tracing or whatever. That does not mean we are not going to do contact tracing. The enhanced contact tracing will also happen alongside. Because if we don't tackle the disease head on and we continue to increase our case count as we are seeing, and then the impact then trickles on the general health system, then we have more issues on our hand. The issues then become twofold. The first is the COVID problem itself. The second is the fact that non-COVID cases will then also begin to suffer. Because when the health system is stretched, facilities are basically overwhelmed. Doctors, nurses, health professionals are overwhelmed. Some are infected. Then there is very little room for you to see the non-COVID cases as well. Meanwhile, those patients will also have to be seen. Our isolation treatment centers are also stretched. And if we are not able to expand, especially the areas that have to do with severe to critical cases, where you need specialists, intensivists, what have you, unfortunately, as a country, we don't have a lot of these specialized professionals.
But Dr. Hansen, it's interesting that you mentioned about how we may be stretched in terms of our health facilities, but we've been told that our system as it stands now in terms of our dealing with the situation, in regards to our health facilities, we are not overwhelmed just yet.
You see, Emefa, it is not just about having a health facility. You also need human resources, and you also need equipment at times to help ensure that your system is properly functional. And that is why, as a country, nobody can actually dispute the fact that our health system is not as robust as others have or as it ought to be. We cannot dispute that. Now we have specialized people who may be needed under certain circumstances. Those who work in the intensive care units, the anesthetists, the anesthesiologists, the doctor anesthetists, the intensivists. We don't have a lot of these throughout the country. We may have some in Accra, but not the other regions. Kumasi has some, but you don't have that much. The other thing is that the equipment, the supportive activity that you also need, you have difficulties. What it will mean is that people may have to be sometimes even transported to Accra and Kumasi. But when these centers themselves are also overstretched and are full, then you begin to see a lot more problems. Health professionals themselves cannot work in vacuum. They will need the health facilities, they will need the isolation areas, they will need the PPE. So it's a collective thing that we will need to look at. And like we said, we need a multi-pronged approach. It is not just a one-cap-fits-all. No. What my panelists have said is part of the exercise. The enhanced contact tracing approach is part of it. And even our testing capacity. We still have not been able to become a perfect society in terms of our abilities to test. We are trying to expand, but we still have the problems associated with delays in getting results. And that is also hampering the work of clinicians at the facility level. We were expecting to get results in 24 hours, but in most cases, we are not getting that.
And we are told about the spread of the virus also amongst clinicians and amongst your members as well. At the last count, we're told about over 70 cases. Do we know how many exactly now?
Well, I don't want to go into the numbers, but what it means is that look, if you have delays in your healthcare system in terms of getting the results, and you have patients who are either on the ward or in isolation or holding areas within the hospital who are waiting for their results, the hospital or the professionals cannot abandon these people. So it means at all times you need to be getting in touch with them, and because the results are also not in, and we sometimes have limited resources when it comes to PPE. Mm-hmm. These are some of the things that ultimately will lead to infections and what have you for health professionals as well. Because you cannot just abandon the patient, and you are also sometimes in a position to have the full gear to be seeing the patient on regular basis.
Okay. Well, quite a situation we have on our hands there. That's the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yankson. But if you're one of those fond of not wearing your face mask, then listen, in the next few days, President Akufo-Addo is expected to sign an executive order detailing the punishment regime for non-wearing of the face mask. The President, at his 11th coronavirus broadcast to the nation, warned persons who fail to wear a face mask in public will be in violation of the new executive instrument and face possible prosecution as Ghana's case count nears 12,000 with 54 deaths.
All Ghanaians must remember that the wearing of masks is now mandatory. Leaving our homes without a face mask or face covering on is an offense. The police have been instructed to enforce this directive, which is the subject of an executive instrument.
Well, a state attorney, Andrew Doji Adugu, says the president's directive cannot be enforced unless an executive instrument spells out the punishment regime for non-compliance with the directive. He spoke on the Pulse with my colleague Gifty Andropia.
If the president says wearing a face mask is mandatory, then there's no legal backing. However, I heard the president expressly say that if you do not wear the face mask, it is an offense and it is a subject of an executive instrument to be issued. So now, wearing a face mask is no more something that you can just go without, then they would just use administrative efforts to compel you. Now, it is an offense. It is a criminal offense. And it's going to be a subject of writing in an executive instrument. And I wish to draw our attention that a mere declaration does not make something an offense. Under Article 1911 of our 1992 Constitution, it says no person shall be convicted of a criminal offense unless the offense is defined and the penalty for it is prescribed in a written law. So for this to become an offense, it must be put in law, and in this case, it's the executive instrument, because the Imposition of Restriction Act gives the president the power to impose certain restrictions, and if you do not comply with the said restrictions, there are sanctions to be applied. And in this particular case, the EI will spell out exactly what, if you do not do, will constitute an offense. And in this case, the president said wearing of nose mask or nose covering or face covering. So not only limited to nose mask, but something that can cover your nose or cover your face to prevent you from infecting others or from others infecting you.
That's Andrew Doji Adugu, a state attorney there, speaking on the Pulse on the Joy News channel with Gifty Ando Apia. Well, some people have been telling us about the difficulty in wearing the face mask, but if you don't keep it on, you can't prevent the spread of the virus. But an epidemiologist with the University of Ghana Medical School, Dr. Benedict Kalistego, is blaming low education for the anomaly, warning the country could see a major spike in the coming days if stringent measures are not taken by government to address the danger posed by the pandemic.
Well, as we can all see, the numbers are increasing, and what it tells us is that the virus is with us in our communities. It is being transmitted within the communities, and therefore I say that the frontline staff are no longer the health workers, but we, the citizens of Ghana. Each and every one of us has a responsibility to protect himself or herself by adhering to the numerous measures that have been clearly outlined.
Transmission has been with us for some time, At the point where it wasn't was when we feared, when the borders were even still open. Now we know it's come to stay. When you say everybody ought to take steps to consider themselves as frontline workers, exactly what can we do, especially when this is a virus you can't see with your eyes?
That's very true. You can't see the virus with your eyes, but there are recognized, proven methods that have so far been working. And that includes the hand hygiene, washing under running water and soap, using the hand sanitizers when water is not readily available, and the wearing of the face mask.
That's Dr. Benedict Carles-Tego. He's an epidemiologist speaking to my colleague Gifty Ando-Apia. Well, the Greater Accra Regional Security Council today told us on the midday news that they are preparing a strategy to enforce the President's directive for the mandatory wearing of face masks. But elsewhere, we're told about the frustrations. We've been checking in the Ashanti region, for instance. We know that prior to even this order being issued, they had issued warnings that if you do not wear a face mask in your court, you'll be punished for it. But the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yaolecha, has joined us on the phone here on Newsnight. We're grateful for your time, sir. So it looks like it's not a smooth sailing for you in your region. There's some kind of pushback from some market folk, we're told. What exactly is the concern of these people when it comes to wearing of the face masks?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I think the challenge we're having has got to do with compliance. I know that many people have heard about COVID-19. They understand that we have a problem, but how to change the attitudes and comply with the measures that have been outlined is a challenge. We will continue to do the education. We continue to enforce compliance. A couple of days ago, the security agencies in the Volta region went on an operation to try to enforce the wearing of the masks. I know of the whole municipal assembly that passed a bylaw with a spot fine of minimum 20 cedis for anybody found without a mask. I think that the president's intervention last night is going to add to the impetus that we need to enforce the compliance. It is some people have the masks in their bags. Some people, you ask them where their masks are and they start looking for it. Some have turned it into chin masks and all kinds of things. But today, after the president's address last night, when I went around town, the compliance levels have improved greatly.
Okay, so have we started prosecution, for instance, even though we're waiting for the EI to mature?
No. We haven't done any prosecution. What I know the Home Municipal Assembly does is to do spot fines of 20 cedis if you are not in a mask. And weeks ago, we gave instructions to all the assemblies to also pass bylaws and enforce the wearing of face masks together with other protocols that have been announced.
But what's your backing for this system that you're implementing, 20 cedis if you're not wearing the face mask? What's backing it? What kind of law is backing that?
That was a bylaw passed by the whole municipal assembly. It's a district. We've asked the assemblies to meet and pass bylaws to back the enforcement that they are supposed to carry out.
But some have also mentioned that the issue of education, I don't know the situation with you in the Volta region, for instance. Here in Accra, we've been interacting with residents. They talk about the low education on this. Is the situation any different in your region, and what are the measures that you've put in place to ensure that education comes up way up there?
Thank you very much. I'm aware of the Regional Public Health Emergency Management Committee with the various district public health management committees also carrying out plans for public education. We have the Information Services Department, the NCCE, and the various assemblies using the community public address systems to educate the public. Some traditional rulers are also supporting us, community leaders and so on. We still can improve on it. We need to do more. But many people have heard about COVID-19. Many people have heard of the protocols, the various social distancing protocols and the face masks, the wearing of face masks and so on. But the issue is the change in attitude. You can get information. It's one thing receiving information, and it's another thing changing your attitude to put it into practice. So what we need in our country is the change in attitude of our people. What I see is that people must appreciate that we have a challenge, and they must all take the responsibility to protect themselves and to protect their communities and their families. It's very important that each one of us has a role to play in the enforcement of the protocols.
We're indeed grateful for your time. That's the regional minister, the Volta regional minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha. Many of you are already commenting on some of the stories you've heard so far here on Newsnight. So we have this one from Albert Ayeno in Sakumono. He says the Western region, especially the Greater Sekendi Takrady metropolitan area, is now in serious danger of COVID-19 with inadequate testing and treatment center. Takwa is also in a serious situation. What are the immediate plans for these areas with close to 1,000 cases, even though the total population is less than 10% of Ghana's population? And we know that the Western region is the latest hotspot, and there's a lot of focus on that area. Kofi Seidu says if the government wants to criminalize the non-wearing of the nose masks, then the government should make it a point to provide the mask for every Ghanaian, because my Kayaye sister at Old Fadama cannot afford one. Some of your comments, and this one says the NPP government are taking us for granted. Kotoka Courage is sending that one, not too clear. I'll go through that. And this one also says politics in Ghana is so interesting. I'm sure NPP will once again say we should forget of the NDC because they are not serious. The NPP actually gave me hope in 2016, but now I'm disappointed in them. They have the men. Let them stop the plenty talk and deliver their promises to us. Martins Agbana, great, from Tema, sends that one. But just before we go for business with George, we head to the Dodo Pepeso highway. We recall this issue, definitely. I'm sure you remember the contract issue that came up, the bribery, and that story that was put out by Manasseh Azuriawuni and the Joy News team. My colleague Justice Bedu has returned to that area today, and he's been on the ground checking. We're told that 4 years, it's 4 years today since we broke the story of how a Burkinabe contractor who constructed the road from Dodi Pepeso to Nkwanta gifted former President Mahama a Ford vehicle. Now, that story raised questions over possible conflict of interest situation that then President Mahama may have found himself. Now, even though the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice cleared Mr. Mahama of bribery allegations, the issue went on to dominate in the run-up to the 2016 election. So my colleague, like I said, Justice Bedu, is back in the OT region now, where this project is located, and he joined us on the phone. Justice, what did you find?
So, Emefa, a good part of the 48-kilometer road from Dodi Pepesu to Nkwanta is in very good condition, and so when you're driving on it, it's really smooth. The markings are still there. The signposts are good, and also a very good part of it is also now very, very unmotorable. So you go and there are very, very deep holes. They go beyond the point where you could describe as portals. They're actually manholes, and you really cannot drive through that point without having to slow down. And then because the rains are setting at this point, and it rains a lot in this part of the country, a lot of them are filled with water that have come from the rains. Many of the people that we've been speaking to, and the story will be up on Joy News TV tonight, are saying that yes, they are happy this road has been constructed, because before now it was really, really difficult coming here. It could take up about 3 hours to make that journey. Now they could do that journey in under 45 minutes. But they are very much worried that just about 4 years now, the road is deteriorating. And even though they are happy that their businesses are back and they are able to travel and come back within this area, they are not sure that this road is going to last as long as they thought it should.
Interesting there. Justice, I can't wait to watch that report, though. And you've been talking about speaking to residents and their interaction and how happy they are about it. But describe to me again, because it's just 4 years, and I'm wondering about the potholes that you talk about on that road. How vast a stretch do we have these potholes?
So you go, like I said, I mean, I have just been doing nothing really scientific, but just on the top of my head, looking at how far you can drive without having to fall into a pothole. And I think a little over 80% of the road is in very, very good condition. You still have the markings available and all of that. But then there are also parts that you actually really find the entire tire that has been put on it, that has been just ripped off by the rains and then also by the heavy trucks that use the road, because you realize that this part of the country has a lot of trucks that are coming from the north with yam and all of that, and so there's a heavy there's a lot of pressure on the road itself, and so a lot of these places have you find that the surface of the road has been ripped off entirely.
Okay, that's my colleague Justice Abedu reporting from the OT region, and of course that report will be on the Joy News channel during the Joy News Prime at the top of the hour 7, and you would want to see that, and definitely pictures also of that will be on myjoyonline.com. 4 years already.
Yeah, time right. Fast when they say you're having fun, right? But I thought there was also another road. Is it the Bole Bamboy road as well? It always appears in the budget. You know, and some of these roads, it always comes up in the budget, and whether the funds are being allocated or not, or the contractor is just not executing that job.
Well, that's a question, a big question, and we'll get answers to that, especially within the period that we're in. George, what's in business?
Well, Emefa, coming up in business, Securities Industry Association wants government to fast-track payment of locked-up funds to save the sector from possible collapse. And what should be the option for government? Looking at the rising debt stock, we'll hear the thoughts of an economist. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? And it has been 25 years of offering those budding entrepreneurs out there the required platform to grow their businesses.
When you want it, just Momo it. When you tire for the long queue in the supermarket, just Momo it. And when you really want that beautiful new blouse too, just Momo it. And when you won't get that thing, when you will get fresh to impress and you know who, just Momo it. And when you need to pay that your utility bill and domestic staff set, just Momo it. And when you want send love to the family for back home, just Momo it. So many ways there. When you go use your MTN Momo wallet to make payments with scan to pay. When you go use the QR code, or you go use the merchant ID, or on bank POS terminal. You go also transfer money between mobile money wallet and bank account, all on MTN Momo. Enjoy real convenience in all your financial transactions and live life the brighter way with MTN Momo. We are good together. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
We give you nothing but the best. We stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. We do. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience
experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi. Call us on 0302-764-101 or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
We know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501-683-914
or 0232 000 015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on News. Now, the Ghana Securities Industry Association is asking government to fast-track the payment of locked-up funds to save the sector from possible collapse. Now, fund managers that had their about 1.8 billion Ghana cedis locked up with these collapse funds have just had about 83 million Ghana cedis being paid to them, even though 1.43 billion Ghana cedis has been validated. Council member of the Ghana Securities Industry Association, LCA Nimfuedu, says the development is not helping their clients as well as the liquidity position of their members.
That the key focus for us is to access some liquidity for our clients. Obviously, you know that these funds we are talking about is clients' funds which we have invested in these institutions. The clients obviously have heard the President's announcement about no depositors losing funds. So the concern is why they have heard that payments are ongoing and they are not able to access their funds. The liquidity affects us because where possible, we find whatever little funds we can, even if it is from our own resources, to try and alleviate the squeeze for some of our clients. But obviously, if you look at the size of or the quantum of the amounts outstanding, we cannot do it, or we cannot do it all. So the key focus for us is to really try and access funds. If our clients get their funds, it will ease up liquidity for us ourselves as operating companies.
Council member of the Ghana Securities Industry Association, LCA Nimfuedu. Now, there are projections that the country's total debt stock will hit a record high by the end of this year. Now, this is based on projections from the country's development partners, and some economists worried that it could cross the 70% mark of the total debt stock as compared to the GDP of the country. So, should non-concessional borrowing be the way out in terms of raising funds, or we should look at raising locally or look at the tax options for the country? Let's hear the thoughts of an economist, that is Courage Mate.
Now, with an increase in the debt stock expected this year further up, there is a risk of interest payments consuming further parts of our revenue. And that is why we must emphasize less expensive debt, interest-free and non-concessional debt going forward, so that even though the total debt stock will go up because of COVID-related widening of the deficit, the cost structure of the debt will be firmly under grip. Because the debt accumulation, given the extraordinary times we find ourselves in, is inevitable, and it is happening around the world. So central banks are even funding government, and that is a debt. It's just that it's not an open market debt, right? So the debt accumulation is inevitable. How or at what cost will you accumulate this debt? This will be what investors and the market will be watching to determine your debt sustainability outlook.
Courage Mate is an economist. Now, Toyota has expressed its commitment to assembling its vehicles in the country despite the initial postponement. The automobile giant was supposed to have begun putting together its cars locally, but had to suspend it at least for now because of the coronavirus. Now, they have feared that the firm may not actually go ahead with this plan, but their sources say the move was actually indeed will materialize. According to them, all the necessary paperwork have been done, and all the necessary plans have also been put in place for this project to kick off. They actually just have to put it on hold purely on health grounds. Now, we understand that it will come ahead as planned by the company. Now, already VW has started assembling some of its mobiles here in the country, and they see that there are plans to actually expand it to commercial basis. Now, the Ministry of Railways Development has signed a MOU with the Global Railway Engineering, that is Ghana, for the establishment of local assembly plant for railway equipment in the country. Sector Minister Joe Garte explains the partnership will complement efforts in expanding the country's railway sector.
Today's event will culminate, God willing, in the establishment of a local assembly plant in Ghana where we will assemble railway first wagons and hopefully in the future locomotives. This company for South Africa prides itself as being a leading engineering company with extensive experience in the manufacture of wagons and associated railway equipment. I'll, however, lead them to blow their own horn, and I will not take the wind out of their sail. All I'll say is that this MOU gives them an exclusivity of 4 months.
And that's Joe Garte. He is the railway minister, and that's all for business on Newsnight. And I mean, what we gather from Toyota is that they're going to go ahead with their plan to assemble these vehicles locally in Ghana. It has been postponed just for now because of the coronavirus. And the plan is that they have everything in place. Documents have been signed with government. Everything is in place. So all other things being equal, very soon you will see that they start assembling these vehicles in the country. You understand that VW so they started with one of them, and they're doing that industrial.
I recall a report that Elton Brobe brought from the Jubilee House when they met.
They signed this whole thing. So all these firms are saying that they are committed to it, and it will happen very soon.
But it's for the likes of you who can purchase the brand new one. Well, thank you very much, George Riafe, with the latest from the world of business. Let's take some of your messages. You send them via WhatsApp on 0244340437. And of course, those who can also watch us on Facebook, you're leaving your comments there. We see them also. So this one from Josephine says, how can the president tell us that the Rocketon case count is due to the proper management, that's contact tracing, and now wants to make not wearing nose mask offensive, or the disease is spreading instead? Now, Eric in Takrady says those behaving as though the virus has disappeared must face the full rigors of the law. Blair in Kumasi says the lessons from the rate of the spread of COVID-19 in Ghana are just two. 1, our leaders need to be proactive. 2, we the citizens need to be law-abiding and disciplined. God have mercy on us. Blair, thank you so much for your message. Now, this one also says, we'll be recording more COVID-19 cases than what we have now. President Akufo-Addo eased the restrictions to favor his political party's primaries. Did he think about the general well-being of we Ghanaians? Jerry Afiko censored one from Keta. So we don't know for a fact that that's why the restrictions were eased. We are still in phase 1 of the easing of the restrictions. Now, President Akufo-Addo promised to improve and expand the road network he inherited from the NDC. Nothing has been done since he assumed office. How can he blame his predecessor? Ike from Accra sends that message. Kofi Intema says the NDC has not learned from their past. In 2016, instead of telling Ghanaians what they could do to better our lives, they were organizing needless campaigns dubbed Setting the Record Straight 2020. They've not told Ghanaians what they would do if elected, by repeating those same mistakes. And he adds, clueless. And Eben from Kwabinya says, thanks to the great NDC, and the time to be a member of the NDC is now. He says, we are the capable people to deliver to the country. Now, Lincoln in Akwetiman says the NPP should know that Ghanaians are tired. Their propaganda and deceit. Where are the jobs they promised Ghanaians? We have an interesting one also from Sami in Soto. He says, I thought the president said he knows how to bring back the economy, but not human life. Why not save human life by locking down areas where the figures are high? George says Ghanaians are becoming too irresponsible. Why should one wait for government to give face mask while it's for your own benefits against the virus? And the final one says Ghanaians are becoming too irresponsible. Okay, why should one wait for government? So I think it's the same one. Joy FM should check if UK or USA or any other country in the if the government is providing face masks to every individual. That's also from ECHO. Interesting messages. Thank you so much for participating. Keep them coming in. You're part of Newsnight. Without your messages, it's not as fun as it would be. So I appreciate the messages. Some also on Facebook, leaving them. We see you as well. Let's do sports. Benedict Owusu, is it a chin mask or a face mask?
It's a face mask.
Wait.
No, because
I
have to do it this way so you can hear me.
Wait,
properly.
now we can hear you. Let's try if we can't hear you.
All right, let's try and see.
Yes. So
it's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much very clear. It's not a chin mask.
Sure
it's
a
face mask. Yes.
All right. Okay.
So what's in sports?
All right. So we're talking about Richard Olele Kingston. You know, he was a guest on the Joy Sports Link over the weekend with Nathaniel Lato, and he's actually talking about Thomas Partey, and he's advising Partey to make a move from Atletico Madrid to the English Premier League. Remember, Olele played in the Premier League a major part of his club career with Birmingham City, Wigan, and Blackpool, and he feels that it's time for Partey to make a switch to the EPL.
In football, it's a season. Okay. And he has already made his name there. Okay. He needs also to go to the toughest league also to play. And I believe he will excel more than in Spain. Partey is young, is now coming up, so I think going to England is a plus.
So that's former Ghana goalkeeper Richard Olele Kingston speaking on Thomas Partey. There will be more on him in our subsequent sports bulletins. Now, Spain's World Cup winning captain Iker Casillas has withdrawn his application for the presidency of the Spanish Football Federation. Now, the former Real Madrid goalkeeper said he was reconsidering his candidacy because of the exceptional social, economic, and health situation that they find themselves currently in their country. And Casillas has he's not yet officially retired, but he has not played for his current club, that's FC Porto, since April 2019 after he had a heart attack during a training game. And you know, the Spanish La Liga restarted over the weekend. Currently, there is a game ongoing. Sevilla are away to Levante, and they are leading by a goal to now. We've done 56 minutes in that game. Later, we have Real Betis up against Granada.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, pensioners have been sharing personal stories about how they've been shortchanged by the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT. The Forum for Public Sector Registered Pension Association a week ago threatened to embark on a strike if SNIT fails to come up with its method of computing past credits of pensioners. But SNIT, in a statement, explained that the past credits plus additional accrued interest, which had been adjusted to 100% of prevailing Treasury bill rates from January 2020 till date, was what SNIT paid to members as part of their lump sum. However, speaking at a press conference, pensioners shared their stories of the meager amounts they've received as their lump sum from SNIT and how those monies are not a true reflection of their contributions to the fund over the years. My colleague Nancy Emefa Apawu has come through with this report.
Old and frail, pensioners chanted, demanding better services from SNIT. They took turns narrating how they have been shortchanged after many years of active service and rewarded with monies they describe as nothing.
From 1982 to 2009, you are giving me 9,000. And tier 2, only 10 years, are giving me over 20,000 Ghana cedis.
Just 2,146, which is very bad. So those people are SNIT, they are siphoning our blood.
Madam Margaret had worked for 42 years. 32 of her contributions were with SNIT. She says the lump sum given her is woefully inadequate and not a true reflection of her years in the service.
And then 4,476.34 was what was due for me as a pension. Really, I wasn't happy.
But Madam Margaret is not alone. Mr. Agre is pained. He cannot bring himself to accept the money he has been given.
16 years. Now, Ushiska Edemamia, about 4,200, which is a big amount of fee.
Chairman of the firm, Isaac Bamplado, reiterated the association's intention to embark on a strike if SNIT fails to come up with its method of computation.
The question we are asking is, this amount that SNIT is paying, has it been approved by the MPRA board? It's a big no. This is from SNIT. It says, due to the challenges with our OBS IT system, SNIT has only been paying 75% accrued interest to members thus far. Did they ever tell you that? Is it not Atayi? It's cheating. They are cheating. They are short-changing you. 447 million. That's how much they spent on administering the funds under their control. These are contributors' money. And then you pay 69 million to contributors, and then you are making it look as if you've done something. They spent on themselves 447 million Ghana cedis. Contributors' money. And if you're not here. Should this go on?
The pensioners say they cannot undo what they describe as mistakes by SNIT. They are hoping that future generation will not be affected.
And that's my colleague Nancy Emefa Tradusi's report. And tributes have begun pouring in for the late Ghanaian high life legend Nana Tufo, who died today after a short illness. Now, close friends and family sources who confirmed the news of the passing of the Meyere Dada hitmaker have been left devastated. As we continue our series celebrating some of Ghana's music greats, we throw the spotlight now on the career of a man nicknamed 9924.
What can we say of a man who has for more than 3 decades done just what makes him happy? Music. The grace of God has been sufficient for me. My career has been successful only by the grace of God.
Exercise me this kind of stuff.
Legendary high life singer and songwriter Nana Tufo, popularly called 9924, kicked off what has become recognized as an illustrious music career when he joined 1,000. My parents were not exactly excited about my career choice. Sometimes you'd go out to play with the band and return late at night when they are asleep because you dread coming home to meet them while they are awake. He ventured into the Nigerian market and worked with famous Nigerian musician King Sunny Ade as his keyboardist. In 1979, 9924 released his first album, High Life Romance. Some believe his unique birth dates coinciding with Valentine's Day set him up for a rather glittering career, leaving his footprints on the sands of time. But after a short illness, the legendary musician died Monday, June 15, 2020. One of his team members, Nanaba T, confirmed to Andy Dusty on Hits FM the news of his passing.
We were thankful for some time he could walk and talk and sing. But just this morning, that's what I was told, that my dad has just passed away.
His death has sent shockwaves across various sectors of the music industry, with tributes already pouring in from friends and colleagues. High life great Amachi Dede is devastated.
I met Nana Tufo during Christmas. I've also spoken to him on phone for several times because he's a very good friend of mine. Very unfortunate.
For Oheniba Kisi, the life and career of a legendary musician must inspire the youth.
I met him last year, 24th, when Adom FM hosted us at Pema. He was fit. He sang about 20-something songs, and nothing shows that he could go in a 6-7 months time. I'm confused.
Dancehall artist Shatta Wale believes the late musician paid his dues and must be celebrated.
Condolences to Nana Tufo, because he's one of my greatest highlight musicians. If I can be able to write a song like My Level, then people should know I listen to, people like him, apart from Amachi Dede, Kojenchi, you call Oheniba Kisi, I listen to all of them. So condolences to his family.
He is on record to have recently advised young musicians to avoid beefing and build an industry they would be proud of many years to come.
Young
artists today must not be fighting each other. The beefs are not necessary. Let us all live together.
More can say beef and talk away can we, you know. Ajubre. Na yen transaboko odum and intiasium.
And may his soul rest in perfect peace. That's spotlight on Nana Tufo. So earlier, the Health Minister Kweku Ajumanmenu had said that I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the President and all Ghanaians for your well wishes and prayers. By the grace of God, I am responding to treatment. And a while ago, we were told that a press conference, that's at the Information Ministry, we were told that the Health Minister is now home safe. We'll get details of that. My colleague were there and will give us details in our subsequent bulletins. But tonight, that's my opinion with Nana and Sakwao is up next after News Night, and the topic is finding eggs during COVID. You want to stay for that. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Thanks so much for your company.